Hey everyone, Anders here with another video. Today we are going to talk about the latest AION 2 dev talk and summarize what exactly was said on that stream. Currently, they are kicking about 7 to 10,000 bots every hour. If you are a foreigner using a VPN or connecting to KR servers, you are likely part of this hourly ban wave. I know I am part of this since every hour on the hour I get kicked and have to re-verify. They have banned 58,000 accounts since launch. They are collecting data on bots and will continue doing their best. They have lists of macro users, and after more analysis, they will be banning all of them for 30 days. All currency and pets earned through macro use will also be deleted. They're also pursuing litigation for some of those players, as in they will bring forth lawsuits to, I imagine, Korean players for breaking their terms of service and affecting their bottom line. I doubt anything will come of this in actuality. The reason they are using macros in the first place is because NCSoft made their core combat system require left-click, right-click spam to maximize DPS and somehow call that action combat. Players are using macros for Kinah, drops, and pet collection mostly, so they are working on ways to get rid of that need to macro in the first place. One of the things they're doing right now is Kinah daily limit has been lowered from 2 million to 1 million. They say less than 5% of the player base is even earning 500,000 Kinah per day, according to their data. This new cap will be account-wide, however, starting this week. It also means that monsters will no longer drop anything once you hit that cap. For pet collection, they're going to add more methods of acquisition that are not simply just grinding the same monster over and over. They are thinking of nerfing the pet system altogether. Auto attack canceling adjustment is coming. This is the left click, right click spam I'm talking about. Auto attack canceling increases your DPS, but this also works weaving spell links in the left click, right click cancels. They're trying to make it so you're not forced to do it. They're looking into maybe readjusting the mana gain from left click in other aspects. Auto attack canceling is part of AION's core identity, so they want to keep that in place somewhat. Auction house is now merged across all servers. There is a 10 item listing restriction per auction house. Global auction house will have twice the amount of tax. They also want to adjust Kinah gain from dungeons after a certain amount of clears within your account, so the more you clear a dungeon, the lower the amount of Kinah you are making, and not just your main character. This also affects your alts, and it should be implemented on the 17th of December. They're thinking of adding 4-star dungeons on the 24th. World boss respawns will now be adjusted to be twice as fast. They will also have increased health. As for Abyss, which is the PvP map, players are saying there really is no reason to venture into Abyss after hitting the Abyss point cap, so they've added silver metal fragments as drops for elite monsters in Abyss. They're planning to add penalties to PvE for PvP gear, so you can't just use PvP gear in place of PvE items for next season. Nothing changes for this season. For Sanctuary, mini boss drop rates have increased. For Spacetime Rift, after adding the level requirement, they're saying kills in the Rift were mostly against level 41 to 44 players, so that's why they added that level requirement. Players are now complaining there really is no reason to go into Rift anymore because of the PvP flag system. To help with this, they're making PK and Spacetime Rift give even more Abyss points, and it no longer counts towards your weekly cap. The names of enemy players in Rift will also now be purple to make it easier to see who is flagged and who is not. For class balance, they're saying the gap between different classes is due to mainly their percent passive differences. Gladiator, Templar, Cleric, and Sorcerer attack increase passive is now a damage boost passive with percent changes. They have also done sweeping buffs to Templar, Chanter, Sorcerer, and Cleric. According to the developers, Gladiator, Sorcerer, Elementalist, and Assassin are the currently best performing classes in the game, so they will be buffing the rest. Conquest Dungeon guaranteed rewards after a certain number of clears will have options for weapons as well. Overhealing is not counted, so healer contribution can sometimes be too low. They're looking into that and seeing how they can fix that. Server transfers are still being worked on. Report function in-game was supposed to be coming at some point, but they are worried that it will be abused to target some innocent players, and it doesn't guarantee the reports are genuine, so it seems like this is no longer in the works. They will consider combining the Abyss point caps between PK and grinding. Starting next week, you will be able to craft Spirit Stones in stacks of 10. They will add more ways to source Stigma shards other than just Abyss points, no later than the 24th of this month. Skill queue is annoying to some players, and so they're looking into that. Losing Abyss points in PvP will also deduct from your weekly weekly cap starting with this week's maintenance. They're also looking into adjusting how many abyss points you actually lose to PvP death. Hitting cubes will be key only soon. This means if you don't have a cube key, you won't be able to open these. Right now they're mostly camped by bots because they work similarly to the gathering nodes. They're still working on this, but it should get implemented by the end of the month. Abyss artifact nodes work in a way depending on how many your faction has lost. You will then get a buff to abyss point acquisition to make up for the fact that you don't have access to that node. Render distance issues will get improved over time. They're unclear if this means larger render distance, which is one of the main issues with the game, or that the issue of enemies rendering in as they're already on top of you, that's getting fixed. Hopefully it's both. Heroic gear balance is also being looked into to make them more worthwhile to go for and use. The Kinah sync and the rates are just too bad right now. They're not worth using in terms of your character's power efficiency. They want to reduce the amount of Shugo and PvE boss events throughout the day. Sometimes you resurrect with no stamina, so this is an issue they're looking into. Some players are also asking for invulnerability upon resurrection, but they're worried it will lead to abuse, so they won't add it to the game. Abuse may be in dungeons. In PvP, you learn to play around immunity. As soon as you perform an action, you lose that immunity effect anyway, so in dungeons, maybe making the boss ignore your immune status on res could be a solution to this. They're considering server 2v2 and 3v3 arena next season. World boss objectives will be removed from duty command scrolls. Rangers are supposedly getting buffed next week. For compensation, we'll be getting 40 Odal energy every day for a week. You can check your in-game mail for those, and we're also getting an expedition reward ticket and some resurrection stones. Christmas event will also bring a new Kinah Diva Pass that's going to reward you with scrolls, keys, and an event cosmetic hat. 6 new outfits will be released starting this week. And that's all for the info on this latest AION 2 Dev Talk. Let me know what you think about the class balance changes in the comments. Do you think it's at all possible to control macro users and bots in the game long term? Personally, I think all the changes NCSoft are making to fight bots and macro users are necessary, but they're also shifting the game more and more against free-to-play users or players who happen to start the game late. They're also not addressing the obvious gatekeeping and bussing that started to become commonplace in the game. All of this makes the game more pay-to-win for us in the West, and their methods for controlling bots won't all work on Western servers where players from many different countries are going to be connecting every day. It's still early in the game's life cycle, and we have no official information about NC America's plans for the game when they publish it globally. So for now, I am treating this Korean launch as a beta and hoping we get a better product when it releases for us in 2026. Let me know what you think about this AION 2 situation down in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I'll have a written summary of the updates on the Discord, and as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.